Do you mind walking through what proper link building is or just proper off page?
It's timeliness, and there has to have like an emotion to it. There are less good links to go around, a lot less
Yeah.
in digital PR than in link building. Earned media is huge. Ultimately, I found that earned media, like off page stuff, is like 80% of the citations.
If all these research papers are referring to this one seminal work, that seminal work must have the most authority, therefore it should have the most distribution. Can you be that seminal work? Do you have the authority, the experience, the track record to be that?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? Like,
Mhm.
and when you look at the breakdown of some of the ways that like these pages show up, it's like, yeah, duh. Like
Is there something that you've learned or something that keeps coming up that maybe most digital PR specialists are not thinking about?
the number one mistake, I'll maybe frame it this way, is
All right, welcome to the Sure Oak podcast. We have a very special guest, Vince Nero, the director of content at BuzzStream. We've been following your stuff. We're always humbled when we have such a great guest on the show. How are you? Thank you for doing this.
Uh, I am doing well. Thank you. I am also humbled. It's nice, I run our podcast, so it's nice to be on the other side sometimes. So
Yes,
I'm
I don't have to
looking
come up
forward
with
to
all the
this.
questions and keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also from the Sure Oak side, we have Evan Dunn. He is a strategist of Off-Page. So glad to have you on. He is probably a little bit more familiar with this world than I am. So it was nice when I tricked him to come on the podcast as well. So thanks for doing this, Evan.
No, happy to be here. And yeah, I've been watching Vince's stuff and BuzzStream stuff for a while now. So I had to jump on and take advantage of the opportunity to, pick his brain a bit.
Yeah. All right. So very important question. How does like a professional saxophone player get into SEO?
Um, well, I wish it was like a fun one, but really it was just like I needed money. I was trying to, it basically took around 10 years after I graduated in New York City. I like kind of grinding out gigs and trying to make it in every which way, but I ended up spending a lot more time on job like bartending and like these side gigs
Yeah.
that were
Yeah.
paying the bills. And I was like, man, this has sucked the fun out of it. So I kind of fell into this stuff. I took some classes in advertising at
Mm.
NYU thinking I was going to get into that. And then, yeah, I kind of fell backwards into a couple opportunities and got connected with like the New York startup tech scene. And that's kind of where I kicked off. The funny thing I tell people is I was working with a consultancy and I took Brian Dean's SEO That
Well,
Works
backlink go.
course. Backlink, yeah. I don't think the course exists anymore, but it was called SEO That Works. And like, it was all about like skyscraper technique and pitching, infographics and all that kind of stuff. And it was actually gifted to me as a wedding present from the dudes that ran the consultancy. They were like, here, like, I know you're interested in this stuff. Like, it'll help further our, consultancy too. And so I credit that course to me getting my first job at Siege Media. Cause it was like literally like a one-to-one, like the same kind of outreach they were doing. It was like the stuff I was doing that I had
Mm.
learned from this course. So yeah,
Oh, that's
shout out to
awesome.
Brian Dean.
Yeah. So what I really like about your content and just, well, one, just thank you for being like a value added member of the community. I love the SEO community. We typically are people that share ideas. We want to move it forward because we don't have a scarcity mindset. We believe in multitude. But what I really like about your stuff, and I think there has been this transition with AI where it's brand first again. What used to be SEO got into a lot of hacks. It got into like, oh, link farming, like let's buy a bunch of links and link building it's like my mom says, this is why we can't have nice things. Like link building used to be a really positive thing. And then it became very negative and we still use it on our website, but I don't think people understand how powerful it can be. And now with AI, just to be able to earn mentions and to be able to earn your conversation, your brand on a chatbot conversation has become really important. Do you mind walking through what proper link building is or just proper off page? I think you probably were part with Siege Media talking about this as link magnets or writing content that is link worthy. Maybe you could talk about your view of the world in terms of off page.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely changed in the last like 2 years. I feel like has been some of the most tumultuous times since like Penguin and Panda updates. And speaking specifically to those like guest post sites, I kind of put that in quotes, like those
Mhm.
sites that kind of just exist to place links. They're like these news sites. They kind of look like news sites, but not really. I feel like
Yeah.
that was like a really big piece of a lot of different people's strategies, especially in the affiliate world. And when the help
Mm.
content update rolled out over the past couple of years, I mean, the big one in March of 2023 now, I think or 2024, I think
24. Yeah. 24.
it really tanked a lot of those strategies. And so people were kind of shuffling around trying to figure out what to do next. And then here comes AI, and here come these studies showing that, hey, mentions are actually very important and
Yeah.
not just links. And that kind of shifted, I think, a lot of the mindset. And we're seeing a lot of these traditional link builders jumping into digital PR for better or for worse. I mean, there's agencies out there who have never been digital PR agencies who are all of a sudden saying they are digital PR and selling services um, and it's it's great for the industry to be moving in that direction, but to your point, Nick, like there's still spammers out there. There's still people hacking stuff together. So I think really the things that seem to work these days, that the people that are doing it right are kind of sticking to their roots in terms of what it means to create great content and
Mm.
tell a story and create newsworthy stuff. So, I mean, the goals definitely will differ. Um, the strategies will differ, sorry, based on your goals. So, like, if you want to just get your brand out there, you can kind of go a little wider. Um, get more creative. There's like reactive PR, there's kind of like PR stunt stuff. There's really interesting creative stuff coming out of like a lot of UK agencies, but some big ones in the US as well, where they're tying in social campaigns alongside of their digital PR
Mm.
campaigns. And the goal is not just, hey, I'm just going to go get links. The goal is I'm going to create some buzz, create some news. Um, yeah. So I think that to me seems to be the biggest shift. And the other thing I'll say is there is, I've seen this, we've done these studies now, like the state of digital PR, and we asked a lot about people looking at AI citations. Like that's the big, y- big thing that people are searching for now. And a lot of clients are asking for it. Not necessarily like mentions, like citations. I'm going to show up in the citations because that's, I think, the clearest, um, uh,
Even though no one
look.
clicks on citations, I still want to show up in
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
citation.
Yeah. But no, I mean, what I'm trying to say is like, that's, the clearest comparison, I guess, to like links, thinking that like link driven thing. So people want links again, and yeah, nobody clicks on it. But so I do think there is, just kind of a push to either get showing up in citations and mentions, and a lot of people are just trying to still figure it out, which I think is very interesting. And to your point, why I try to uh, give as much as I can in terms of like studies and findings and stuff, and that's why I like this community so much.
Yeah, it is. It is good. Yeah, I mean, like there are. I mean, like to your point, like there are good guys and there are, I don't know what. Let's just say they're pushing the envelope a little bit. I don't want to say the other word, but like one of those hacky things, those off-page things, was listicles. I mean, some listicles are still great, but these self-indulgent listicles on my own website or creating listicles for your clients. I mean, that got quashed recently, and I was actually kind of happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like
And if people don't know what
I,
Listicle is, it's one of those best of top 10 SEO agencies and for whatever.
yeah, I mean, I have been doing that for years. I actually, we still find people still find BuzzStream through our own listicle and that I made. But I think there's a difference between what you're saying and the people that are doing it well. Like I think you would still get a lot out of it. I think the issue is when you start to spam it, right? And like
There you
that's
go.
with
Okay, that's
everything.
a
Like
better way to
that's
frame
why
it. I
why we
agree.
can't have nice things, right? It's
Yeah.
like marketers ruin this stuff because it's I've seen tools that now you can use to basically spam that process where it's like, find me every single person who's written a listicle about PR or digital PR or link building and tell me who they are and who their names are. So then I could spam out, hey, I want to get BuzzStream in your listicle. It's like, you don't need to be on all of those. Like, how many of those are quality? How many of those are written,
Yes.
Well? And so,
And does
but
the
on the
site have
flip,
authority to say that?
right. Yes. The relevance thing is totally, not, is typically overlooked. And I think, but I do think there is value to some of this stuff if you take it with a, grain of salt and you're not trying to just spam every strategy that comes out.
Yeah. So, hey, I'll turn it over to you, Evan. You got a question?
Sure. What makes backlink content backlink worthy? I know we spoke about this a little bit, but in
Yeah.
today's landscape, what do you think makes content backlink worthy?
Yeah, and I apologize, Nick. I feel like you like tried to set me up for this, and I kind of talked all around it. I think the
Hey, there's no right way to do this, Evan. I'm sorry, I know you know to do that. Sir.
the thing I typically push for, um, if we're talking about newsworthy content, let's start there. There's kind of two ways to look at it. Like the newsworthy stuff, I'd say it's timeliness, and there has to have like an emotion to it. And
Oh, that's
there's
good.
probably a lot of this that's can be used in other the broader context. But everything I've looked at, and the people that do it well, especially when it comes to pitching your content and making it easier to pitch your content, has this timely hook to it. And the reason I say that is because when you're doing news content, trying to get picked up by the news, you're not just looking for the link, right? You're trying to put yourself in the shoes of the journalist who has KPIs, who has traffic goals, and their goal is to get as many viewers as they can to their site, right? Like the news publishers are dying. The traffic is getting, AI is taking their traffic, people are getting laid off. So like, man, put yourself in their shoes and okay, does this speak to their community? Does this, um, speak to their beat? Like, obviously it's got to be relevant, but then it's also like, okay, what is going to make this something they will publish right now? And the
Yeah.
timeliness factor is usually the easiest thing where it's like, I mean, it might be as simple as, hey, today is National Taco Day, and you have some post
Mhm.
about tacos, right? But it can also be seasonal stuff. It can be picking up on a trend, right? And, we just noticed whatever black running shoes are trending right now. And so here's my brand who has this unique data about black running shoes. The emotion side of things, I think, is what makes stuff catch on. And
Mhm.
when you view a lot of like survey content, for instance, like typically has a great emotional hook to it. Um, but just the way that you write headlines can kind of elicit some of that emotion, and it used to be as easy as, even in like the blog space, like a complete guide to everything. Like that used to be,
That used
a
to be hard.
great
Yeah.
strategy, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I think there is an emotion to that, right? It's like this idea that like, oh, I'm gonna, capture every single thing here. Um, so, looking at your content from that perspective, I think is very helpful. And then the other thing I would say is unique data, and that
So
kind of
glad you
spills
said
into
that.
that. But like being able to produce unique data for journalists for other sites. I mean, it doesn't have to be journalists. I mean, this is why like the statistics post thing, uh,
Mhm.
caught on so well. It's like people are always looking for these types of statistics when they're writing. And we notice a lot of like news journalists specifically were looking for this. So that became the strategy to get some passive kind of link acquisition. And we used to call it like subjects with high intent to link, right? High
Yes.
link intent. Like these are things that people would want to not only search for, but link to in their posts. And I found even like I'm not doing really any outreach for the stuff that I'm doing for BuzzStream, and I'm finding people are writing about it. And specifically, it's the stuff that is timely. So like I've been covering AI bots who have like blocked traffic, or like
Yeah.
partnerships, but news partnerships who have public news publishers who have partnerships with AI companies. And this stuff is kind of like in the zeitgeist. And I
Mhm.
don't get nearly as many links or coverage from a post about like, the best times to send outreach as I do these like publishers and bots, because that's what people are writing about right now. So it's like, all right, I'm going to lean into that for a little bit. So I think for blogs, if you're looking at just like pure link, you know, link magnets from that perspective, it's not what it used to be. Like, you used to be able to do infographics and those like, complete guides and these big resources. And that stuff still kind of exists. It's very messy though, still. I think there's still a lot of fallout from that, from the big boom that had. But I think in blogs, it's also very much pay to play, or kind of exchange to play, like link
Exchange, yeah.
exchange to play, which, if that opportunity presents itself and it's worthwhile, I think it's okay to do some of those. But, again, like, take all that stuff with a grain of salt, and like, don't put all your eggs into those baskets, because Google can easily come in and
Yeah.
swat
That
them out.
that is so important. A couple things you hit on I wanna go back to, but just that last point of diversification of your off-page profile, I think people forget it's a first principle of search that, when Larry Page made PageRank, he's like, "Well, if all these research papers are referring to this one seminal work, that seminal work must have the most authority, therefore it should have the most distribution." Can you be that seminal work? Do you have the authority, the experience, the track record to be that? And what I find with SureOak, we've actually gone up market into bigger clients because they have resource groups, they have writers, they have
Hmm.
they have insights groups. The ability to generate these surveys, this original data, is so much easier because it costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time. When I meet with small business owners, I'm like, "Are you willing to do this?" "Well, I thought Shiro could do it for me." I'm like, "We will, but my heart is kind of breaking a little bit because it's not gonna be your brand, and it's gonna be lazy research, and it's gonna be like, what is your customers, or what is unique about you that you want the off-page stuff to talk about?" Because if it's referring to you as this expert, you're gonna get it. And it drives me nuts in this world of AI. People say off-page is dead. I mean, it's just not true. It's just it's
Yeah.
more important than ever. How much does the Shiro stuff actually get cited by AI versus what's said about Shiro on AI? I mean, I'm using myself as a case example.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, I just did a big study. I haven't published it yet, but I published pieces of it. But like, I used so the guys at Citation Labs have a AI tracker. It's called XOFU, and I
Great
got
name.
X. Yeah, I forget what it stands for. Actually, I think it's an acronym for something, like XOFU. Um, but anyway, I got a whole like 4 million citations, and I basically slice it up by different prompt types and different industries to understand, like, how these different models work, but specifically based off the different prompts that you ask. And ultimately, I found that earned media, like off-page stuff, is like 80% of the citations.
Okay, there you go.
That's not to say that, like, so like the stuff that's obvious is the stuff that you can influence on your own, right? And should. So, like, it's funny to me, I come up with something like that. It's like, sometimes you work with clients, and you get their website and it looks like crap, and they're like, we don't really care about the website anyway, and we don't really have a social presence. We just want to get links or what, it's like, that's what
Yeah.
our competitors look like crap. So like, we don't need to put any effort in that. And that always pains me because, there's so many just like easy wins that you can have. And it seems like, especially in the AI space, and ChatGPT specifically, they do look at a lot of like about pages and product
Mm,
pages, and for queries, that are specifically asking about, like, if someone were to Google, or go to AI mode and say, what does Shore do? It would cite some stuff from your website. It would cite your product pages. It would cite your about page. And so
mhm.
that is an easy lever that people often overlook.
Oh, I
Now,
mean,
the other side of
time
it,
on your about us page. That is like a really highly viewed page.
yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? Like,
Mhm.
and when you look at the breakdown of some of the ways that like these pages show up, it's like, yeah, duh. Like you can kind of understand how these AI models are being built. Like they're trying to answer questions in the way that a person would actually go to search, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
they're just doing it faster for you. They're gathering it all together and trying to put it together. Like it makes sense. So, um, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to make 2 points at once here. It's like earned media is huge.
Yes.
That and that's kind of hopefully an obvious for the people that are listening to this, because we know how important links are, and but not only that, things like you know other social media and that sort of thing. But there are some things you can do on your own site that make a big difference, I think.
That's huge. That's great. Go ahead, Evan. I could take all the air out of the room. I want to give you
Yeah.
time.
No, I was actually wanting to go back to talking about that kind of intersection of timeliness and unique data. Previously, I worked in the iGaming, online gambling niche, and which is quite different. And
We tried not to hold that against him.
yeah, try not to.
Hey
But
man, if you can make it there, I think you can make it anywhere.
It's
but
true.
That's a tough niche.
and that was and then before that it was very very home services, so very different, and it was a bit of a culture shock, I suppose, transitioning between those two. But yeah, a lot of the digital PR that I saw people doing at that time was finding the intersection of what's being talked about in pop culture, sports, and for the sports betting sites, and online gaming, and then unique data, or even hiring or bringing in an expert, like a I saw people bringing in body language experts to see um what is Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor like. What are they? What is this?
Yeah,
What does this little wink mean or something? So
right.
um, that was interesting to see. I'm curious though, like how you. I did see it kind of becoming a stretch into the land of irrelevance, where it's getting too
Yeah.
far away from what they're actually known for. And so, where do you draw that line? And what are your thoughts on
Mm.
digital PR in general that is kind of pushing the envelope there?
Timeliness for not timeliness sake. Or
Yeah,
just
yeah, or like just relevant,
I worry
getting
about
links
becoming,
for link's sake, kind of.
yeah,
Yeah,
I worry about becoming known for something that you're not trying to be known for.
yeah. I mean, it's tough. So, like, we used to run into this a lot, and the way when I was agency side, the way that I would talk to clients about it is, um, your industry is inherently not a linkable industry, right? Like something super boring, like we had like surety bonds or something, and it's like this is a tough industry, so you have to kind of take a step out. Now, the step out is kind of the most important. So you could go like this way, you could go this way, and depending on where you want to go. And I think a lot of when I talk to other agencies on our podcast and stuff, a lot of the way that people frame it is like, well, what are the goals, right? Do you want to
Mm.
increase the bottom line? Because that changes the calculus a bit. Do you want to just increase you just want to get links to help your dr and rank better for the do you want to increase brand awareness, right? General brand, you just want to get your brand out there on as many platforms as possible. um so when you're looking at it from that standpoint, some of the relevant stuff, I think it becomes a little looser, right? So like if you just want to get your name out there, like you could have a very niche topic or a very niche business and a very specific niche like surety bonds, but it's something that like everybody's probably going to need, or like title insurance, like,
Mhm.
you know, it's something that the general population may need. Maybe it's a smaller niche, smaller cut of it, but um, so in that case, like your audience becomes anybody, right? So you could get feasibly, you could talk about anything. Now, you run the risk of like a journalist being like, what the hell? Why would why is this person writing about this? So like that doesn't make sense. So, but like if you can draw the line to it, at least a couple steps removed, I think that makes sense. Like I saw something, it was a contact, what's it called? Easy Contacts. They sell, it's like contact reseller or something.
Hmm.
And they did a survey on, phone addiction and like,
Mm.
you know, so you're using your eyes, you're looking at your phone. That's, the relation to contacts, right? Like they're not hitting it right down the middle where it's like, here are some statistics on whatever, eye pain for people who wear contacts versus don't wear whatever. Um, but they're at least in the ballpark. So, that makes sense to me. And it's a topic that is timely and it's a topic that could get them some links and some coverage. Um, and so to me, that makes sense. I think, however, if the goal was we want to hit the bottom line, really, okay, then the thought process has to be a little different. What are contacts lenses? What are they serving? What problem do they solve? And you kind of work backwards from that. Okay, so it's maybe glasses break all the time. Maybe you lose your glasses all the time, right? Like, let's do a survey to find out how many people lose their glasses, how many people sit on their glasses, right? And like that's somewhat interesting. And then maybe it's you publish it during national whatever awareness. Is there like an awareness day for vision? I don't know, glasses
Yeah,
day.
it's got to be.
So like, or you have a hook on Christmas. How many people get, glasses for Christmas? Is that a good gift to give for, and that becomes your holiday hook. That's the timeliness. So thinking about it from that perspective, I think there's ways to slice and dice this and different ways to answer your question, Evan, because I think there's no one right answer in a lot of times.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I don't think people get intimate enough now that LLMs are here about the conversation their buyer is having. And so, like surety bonds, that was a great one, a commoditized product. But there are a series of questions if my wealth advisor or if I'm thinking about a different investment about like, what is this? How does it work? Who's the best provider of it? And there's like a 20-minute conversation about something that you thought was completely innocuous that was actually very, very intimate. And then there's off-page stuff to do with that. And the other thing I want to point out or ask a question on this is the more intimate it is, like this is where like that March 24 update, the ones that got crushed were the ones that didn't work on relevance, who didn't have good authority sites. But the ones who did do that work weren't affected. Like I'm very happy to say Shiro clients weren't affected because there was that extra step. And what you talk about in a lot of your content is those type of links require relationship. They're not transactional. So if you're just buying a list, if you're actually are reaching out, treating the other person on the other side, I think you called it, there's a human being on the other side of this link. Once you recognize that, you do so much more strategically, quality over quantity. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, we've done tons of studies about this. Um, this idea of like the spray and pray versus hyper targeted. And, I think my study was more so along the lines of like digital PR and reaching out to news. I mean, because that is a big issue right now with, as I was saying earlier, like a lot of these link building agencies are jumping into digital PR without kind of knowing the rules, right? They're trying to apply the same rules that maybe worked better in the link
Yeah.
building space.
Hey, you're a
Um,
writer for the New York Times. How about we exchange a link?
yeah,
That's what
right,
I'm talking
exactly.
about.
So, yeah, I would say the in any transaction, right? Like you have to bring some value, and the value can be different in different scenarios. Like for journalists, you're giving them all the data that they
Information.
need to make it easy for them to cover your story. You're giving them some links, maybe connecting them to an expert source that you want for a blog, or like maybe you want to get on a research page or like a chamber of commerce. It's like you tell them, here's exactly where we want your link, it's on this page, or sorry, we want you to add our link, it's on this page, and here's why it would be a good fit, and just kind of making things a lot easier than just, hey, would you be interested in sharing this, or like, hey, here's this resource, let me know if you're interested. It's like, that's not enough, So
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely different sides of the coin for who you're reaching out to. But I think that, like you said, Nick, like just thinking, put yourself in the shoes of the person receiving your email. Would I respond to this? Would I take action on this?
Oh, that's so good. The other thing we want. Oh, go ahead, Evan.
Yeah, speaking of that, have you seen people transition from link builder or link building specialist to digital PR specialist successfully,
Good
and
question.
kind of like what the change they needed to make was, or if there's a few specific things that you need to keep in mind when making that change?
Yeah, I mean, I put myself as one of them because when I first started, it was all kind of blog outreach, and then I
Right.
started doing more kind of news outreach. And I mean, the biggest change for me was kind of like I was saying, like the format of the emails and like what it is that you are bringing to the table for that person. And I mean, again, like if you think about it from that perspective, you should be able to do outreach for anybody, right? Like you can be the chameleon, you can kind of put the different hats on, but the the number one mistake, I'll maybe frame it this way, is when you are um yeah, treating a journalist like you would someone for a guest post or something. You're not doing your research, you're not understanding the beat, you're not understanding their why this would
Their audience.
make sense for the
Mhm.
audience. Yeah. And it's funny because there are like definite like through lines from like good link building outreach, like blogger outreach or guest post outreach. If you're like, hey, I want to write a guest post on your page, here are some article, like I've done research and like, your competitors are ranking for this term and you don't have a post on this. Here's a post idea, here are a few post ideas that I've gone the extra mile. I've done the work for you. And here, all you have to do is say yes, and I'll write this post for you. Like that to me is a very effective outreach tactic.
Yeah.
And put that in the, because you've used the audience, like you're thinking about, okay, what is going to actually bring value to this person I'm reaching out to? Put that same mindset into journalist outreach and, okay, what's going to really make this something they want to cover? And then as soon as you start getting into that, you easily get away from the spray and pray because it's just impossible to do it. There's no, there, you see these articles or these posts online where it's like, oh, I sent out, 1,000 emails to 1,000 journalists for this like best city study post that I did. And it's like, dude, there's no way 1,000 journalists are interested in this.
No
It's not
way.
relevant to a
Yeah.
thousand of them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think the other side of the question too, Evan, is like, how can you help your link builders, make the transition, right? And I think you're hitting on a lot of it, Vince, was as the off-page strategist or SEO strategist, help them say something interesting when they reach out. Because if you're like, hey, we just want links to this homepage that says nothing all the time because they want more brand mentions. I'm like, well, no one, even if it's a small blog or even it's contextual, like there's nothing, you're not helping your team. I mean, we have 20 link builders, at Sure Oak, and we are consciously like that's a hard job. There's a lot of no's. It's a lot of
Yeah.
no's, and it's a
Yeah.
lot of and there's a lot of pressure to get mentions, either brand like linked or unlinked mentions for our clients. But the idea, if the strategist is doing their job with the client, is like, Mr. and Mrs. Client, is this interesting? Like, I know we want to do the service page, but you wrote this really beautiful blog over here. I think people are gonna love that.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the digital PRs, especially in the UK, as part
Yeah,
of
you
their like
mentioned it. Why is the
onboarding.
UK ahead of us? I don't like being second.
Yeah, maybe they've just been doing it for a while, and it's a very condensed space.
Yes.
So a lot of the
They're willing to
tactics
talk and
are
have Discord more than we are, maybe.
yeah, maybe, yeah. I no, I do think it has to do with just like the concentration of like news outlets in such a small place. Um, but yeah, a lot of the people in the UK say, oh my god, I'm totally losing my train of thought now. What?
You said
Um,
they're ahead, but they're having better luck, giving content from,
Oh
strategists
yeah.
to the link builders?
Sorry. Yeah. So they as part of the onboarding process, they are looking at existing content and trying to figure out, okay, is there stuff in here that we can pitch? And you look at it from that same perspective, like you said, Nick. It's like, is this interesting? Does this have timeless to it? Is this something we
Oh,
can,
okay, that's good.
if something comes along, can I make this into a reactive piece? If I mean the example I'm giving here is like in the jewelry space, for instance. I see this a lot where like a reactive piece would be like, so and so just got engaged, right? And it's all over the news. Here's their engagement ring. And so the jeweler then, or the digital PR representing the jeweler, maybe there's a page on their site that has like, celebrity engagement ring costs, popular celebrity engagement ring costs of the past or something. Like, okay, that's the connection. I'm going to reach out to those journalists and be like, hey, my client thinks that so-and-so's new engagement ring probably costs 20 pounds, 20,000 pounds. And here's a list of other, celebrity engagement rings that they've compiled. And like, boom, you're like creating an asset for them, a story for them to share, as well as, like a follow-up story with the, other celebrities.
Mm,
So this idea of just like really being in tune with what your client has on the site. And again, to your point, Nick, like if it tells a story, there's probably something in there. It's just a matter of like, you have to get out of that mindset of, okay, we have to send out 100 emails because in the past I sent out 100 emails and that usually gets me 10 links. Like it doesn't work that way. It's more opportunistic a lot of times.
yes.
You might have those big flagship pieces, but they're not always going to hit. It's like you might do 3 pieces and one's a home run, one doesn't catch at all, and one is middling. And so the timelines are a little different. The expectations should be a little different for brands. You don't have to, I think, when your link building mindset is very much quantity, whereas with digital PR, you should be expecting less links. That's okay.
Yeah,
Like there are less good links to go around, a lot less
yeah,
in digital PR than in link building. So the goals for your teams should be way different, and it shouldn't be chasing, a link number. It should be chasing a great story that is hopefully will do the work on its own, right?
yeah. And
If the
sometimes you
focus
have
is
to
on
do
the
that work
story.
with your client or yourself. If you're an SEO, you got to, what is who are we? I think it's so funny. I've had this conversation on not blog after blog, podcast after podcast now. Is as SEOs, we got to get back into brand. We got to start protecting brand again. We got to start thinking. We got to start pushing customers, clients. Yeah, I know you only have enough money for one agency, and you chose organic. But we're gonna have a brand conversation.
Right.
I'm sure they like get a little disappointed. Like, just bring me leads, idiot. Just give it.
Right. Yeah, I hired you for this thing. Yeah, I mean it's tough. I mean, that and that is, I think, a big issue that we're seeing in the space. Like we did our state of digital PR report, and digital PRs work with SEO teams, and that's the
They do.
closest.
Have you met Louisa Fromm from ESPN?
No.
Oh, I have to introduce you, but she has a great thing about educating journalists at ESPN because she's the SEO director of ESPN. And so, like, imagine her job, like a story drops and we have to optimize it, but she has 1,000 stories a day. So how do I educate journalists about how SEO works, how to optimize a headline?
Yeah.
I mean, that's gotta be super interesting.
Right. And
You'd be a good
so
guest for your podcast. You definitely should have her on. So
yeah,
yeah.
hook me out for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'd say like, so there is that connection with SEO, and or lack thereof sometimes for
Mhm.
sure, but there is not a connection between the digital PR teams and the regular PR teams, or the digital
Mm.
PR teams and the brand teams. And I talk
Such a
to
good
people who
point.
are in the like traditional PR space, and they're like, oh yeah, like we talk to the C suites all the time, and it's like, when's the last time like a digital PR person was talking directly to the C suite, right? Like you're
Mhm.
usually hired as an agency. You're a link builder, right? Like you're just here to get a couple of links. We want to, we heard digital PRs good for AI, getting into AI.
That's
So
what
like,
we
what can you
always
do
hear.
for me? And it's like, dude, like if you're thinking that narrowly focused, you're not gonna. achieve that goal
You're not going to be
you know,
patient. You're not
the
going to invest
brand.
in it. Yeah.
Right, right. And that brand story that you're talking about, like what makes you unique and like building an actual brand that's going to beat the competition. It's, you can't take shortcuts anymore like you used to be able to. The
Yeah. That's
brands,
so good.
these affiliate sites that just exist. I mean, they're still out there, but affiliate sites that just exist to shovel you off to somebody else.
Mhm.
I think Google is out for them, like they
Yeah.
want them out of the
It doesn't
flow.
follow the business model, which is give
Right.
humans good content.
Yeah. So, you
Using a
know,
robot.
right. So if you can establish yourself, like what is it that you can do even if you are an affiliate site, like what can I do to make myself more than just an affiliate site? What can I do to become a brand that people know
So
and
good.
search for? So
So good. One thing, I mean, Vince, you're obviously a brilliant marketer because there's a lot of things we like about BuzzStream, not just the product, but the way you approach the community. I want to talk about social because I would put your podcast as a social vehicle for you. I think that's been really good. So you
yeah,
have
for sure.
YouTube, that's really humming. But Reddit, you, your company has figured out Reddit in a pretty strong way. I don't know how much you do on LinkedIn. I haven't seen as much. But could you give some advice? We get asked by customers a lot, should I be on Reddit? I'm like, if you do it the right way, but don't have the third party do it is always like my line. But what's your view on it? I could be totally wrong.
No, I mean, I am honestly trying to figure that out these days myself. My exact workflow for Reddit now is I have alerts set up for F5 bot. Is that what it's called? I'm going to look.
Well, you're way ahead of me. I mean, I'm in second grade on this. So even if you're in third grade, I'm in second,
Yeah,
maybe kindergarten.
F5 bot is that'll track mentions of keywords
Okay.
on Reddit. So anytime people say BuzzStream, anytime people talk about digital PR, anytime people talk about email outreach, I get alerts. I mean, and it's constant now because there is this thought that you can spam Reddit. And, I don't know if you saw the news like 2 days ago. I think their founder came out, or CEO, whoever, that they're trying to cut down on bots and
Yes, that's
this
good.
sort of thing.
It
So
hurts the
that's
community.
good.
Yeah.
But right now, like the mention tracker thing is off the charts because it's just people either writing like full articles. They use AI to write a complete article and just post it on their profile with hopes that it gets picked up in the citations and picked up by these LLMs. And I, that's not the way to do it. I mean,
Well,
again,
it's
like
just
with any of
counter
this
to
stuff,
the
it's
whole business model. That's the other thing I don't like. Like, if you're running counter to what the spirit of the platform is supposed to be, when things get over 1 billion users, what's the term? And shitification, I think it's called. It's like when everything starts breaking down, like you ruin the whole. I'm like, even
yeah,
LinkedIn has a little bit. It's like I don't quite
you're
enjoy it as
muddying
much
the
as I
waters.
used to.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I get this feedback a lot when I say stuff like this. Like I am very active on LinkedIn and that's probably the most active I am, but I'll get feedback every time if I do kind of, shit on some spammy tactics. People will be like, I'm trying to make a buck. Like, it's like, well,
What the hell,
I
Vince?
sure,
Get off your
I
ivory
know, I
tower,
know. I'm like,
man.
all right. Sorry. I got to be more positive. I've had that on Reddit too, where it's like, if there was a post some guy was talking about, like, oh, this was before the big AI, was the AI heist or whatever, SEO heist,
Yeah,
that thing. It was like some guy published a ton of content using AI and it went, kind of viral on
yeah.
LinkedIn. And then all of a sudden he got tanked. But I was like, somebody was talking about something like that on LinkedIn. I commented, hey, I don't think this is, for what it's worth, I don't think something like this has any longevity. Like you're wasting your time, kind of like it might work right now for the next couple of weeks, but
For sure.
and he was like, okay, you keep thinking that way and we'll just keep making money. It's like, all right,
Okay.
so that's kind of what you're up against in some of
Yeah.
these mindsets. Like there's people that are going to be, that's their whole strategy is, I found this loophole, I'm going to exploit it until I get caught. It's like the site reputation abuse. Like people buy entire sites, drive up the DA, drive up the traffic with right now it's AI slop content, and
Yeah.
then Google tanks the site and they dump it and move on to the next one. So that kind of stuff is always going to happen. So it's always going to be this push and pull between people who want to establish long-term brands and people who want to exploit for the short-term gains. And honestly, it just comes down to the type of business you're working with.
Yeah, yeah. You know,
For
the big surprising thing though with the LLMs is how important social is to the off page. It used to be only follow links. Now they're no follow, branded, unlinked. That's new. I'm sorry, Evan, I
Yeah.
cut you off. You're gonna ask something.
No, I was just to keep going with Reddit. I was curious what the balance is or the approach you've had to kind of finding a balance between um, promoting the business and also being genuinely helpful in the communities that your niche is in.
Yeah, I mean, I try like, I'm a Reddit user, before, so it's
That helps.
like, I ask questions and yeah, like, it does help to kinda understand, but, I mean, each community is very different. Like, I made the mistake on the SEO community last year. I legit had a question, and I was like, "I just can't phrase this the right way. I'm just gonna use ChatGPT to, like, make sense of this." And I
Oh,
posted that question, and I got banned immediately from the SEO community for like a year. And then all of a sudden I was back. So I was like, all right, I will never use AI to write anything on there again. I don't know if that was the reason or they just thought it was weird, but the way that I approach it is if people ask about something where like occasionally there'll be real questions like thinking about doing email outreach, what platform should I use? And I'll chime in. I'll be like, I use BuzzStream. I, full disclosure, I work at BuzzStream, but like I used to work at an agency and this is why I like it, So like if you're transparent, I
yeah.
think it's helpful. Um, the other thing so I think that's the biggest thing because you'll see people like if you see a post on there, you look at the comments and you can kind of see what not to do. Like people will be like, this is clearly a,
Yeah.
whatever farming, whatever the
Yeah.
terms are. So people can sniff it out pretty easily. I did have Ross Simmons on our podcast, who is like Reddit aficionado from Foundation Marketing.
Okay.
Speaking, I don't know if you've had him on your podcast, he's definitely, but
I
he
would love to
he
meet him.
gave me his whole playbook on Reddit, and it's some of the stuff I haven't done yet, which is like if you don't own Sure Oak, the username, get it. If you don't
Mm,
have Reddit, a subreddit for Sure Oak, get it. Or like even maybe something like I'm kicking myself for not doing try to grab digital PR, the
mm.
subreddit, because I know the guy that is a mod on it and like it's still a very small community. Like it would have been great to get in on that. And so if you can kind of not control the narrative, but you at least have
Be a
the
part of the
ability to get
community.
in there and be
Value
part of
added,
the
yeah.
community. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are definitely people who have joined as mods and tried to literally control the narrative.
Mm.
Uh, Lars Lofgren did this whole like breakdown of I'm blanking on the company, but it was like the mod was basically on there constantly. He worked for a specific company, and anytime someone would talk about a competitor, he'd be like, this is shitty, that this is why it's bad, and he would
Mm.
upvote people that talked well about it. And like, so there's some shady stuff going on still. And hopefully, Reddit finds that kind of stuff out. But there is a way to, if you are, anytime someone's asking about so and so car rental company or they're complaining about it, if you own that username, you can come in as, create a fake persona. It's Nick from car rentals, and anytime someone is like, oh, this car rental sucks, you'd be like, oh, yeah, hi, I'm Nick. I'm the customer service guy. Like, what can I help you with? So like you're being a real
Yeah.
person. So there's a real way to do it, right? And then there's the just like, I'm going to try to blanket all of the conversations with my name and get it inserted however I can. And like realistic, that's not going to work, right?
Yeah.
Like, again,
Yeah.
it might work in a little bit for a short term, and then someone's going to pull the rug out from under you. So all that time you've wasted, yeah, that's
Yeah,
just the way my mindset.
yeah, I mean, I get overwhelmed. I mean, it's our job, so, like, I'm not complaining about it, but the content that we put out, yes, we obviously do our blog, we have our podcast, we do write, we write not guest blogging, but blogging on LinkedIn, so we don't take the exact same thing, but we do.
Yep,
I'm
yep.
always amazed. I mean, not only so if I look at a SERP, all of that stuff is up at top. Even if we've done just a little bit of it, it's still like, hey, sure, what did they do? That's up there. All our off-page stuff, social media included. But then it's like, hey, tell me about Sure on the LLM. You can see all of that is educating it. So like I think people, the days of it is overwhelming. I get it, but you got to be multi-channel and organic. And I think with the LLMs, especially in B2B, where people are like, I'm going to make $1 million purchase. I'm going to ask my Chat GPT Gemini buddy what's going on with this thing. I'm going to rank and stack them. Like that's a very intimate conversation, and it's worth you spending the time to invest in organic. Even if you never see the organic attribution, I still think it's super important that you recognize these channels. And like, I'm just not a Facebook guy. I'm not a LinkedIn guy. I'm not a Reddit guy. It's like, well,
Yeah. I mean, I think there's probably agencies that can do it well. I mean, you just got to vet them. It's like you can have someone own your social, but you got to make sure they're not doing the shitty stuff. Right.
right.
And so,
Well, maybe just
and
like
yeah,
hire, like my advice to small business owners, hire a really good writer. Like you can always get an SEO firm to like, but like start with the good content, the good ideas, like what's unique
yeah,
about you. And then we'll figure out the technical stuff. That's all solvable. That's what we're
yeah,
here for.
yeah.
You don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to mow
Right.
my lawn. Like, I just want to own the house. I just want it to look nice.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think a lot of that stuff, like it is overwhelming, but and you pick and choose, right? Like you don't have to I don't think you necessarily have to be on every one just to be on it.
Yeah,
I
there you
think
go.
it's a matter of like providing the value, like go customer first, right? Like figure out where your customers are and then start there. And then if you want to expand, okay, we're doing well in Reddit, but like I want to get into Facebook. I mean, you can use like tools like SparkToro tell you where your customers spend their time. So
Yeah,
like
powerful ran
use that
fishing. Yeah,
or
yeah,
ask your customers where do you spend your time. It's like
yeah.
that's easy. Or ask the clients. Like sometimes agencies are afraid to ask those kind of questions because you want to be the authority. But be like, dude, can I have your customer service records? Like maybe I can find some stuff out of there. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
There's
a good
ways to
point.
do it.
Yeah, and I think if you're gonna do like a LinkedIn, blog, then you only have time to do it once a quarter. Make it really good. Make it really good,
Yeah.
and guess what happens? It's evergreen. It's gonna work for you, and maybe it's not as timely, but it's a good piece of content. I don't know. So, anything else, Evan? What do you got in your back pocket? We're running
Uh,
out of. We're pushing
sure.
this time.
Yeah, yeah. The
All
one
right.
that I wanted to get out of the way was, so you've had a lot of people on your podcast, on the BuzzStream YouTube channel, and spoken to a lot of digital PR experts, journalists on the other side. And so, is there something that you've learned, or something that keeps sticks in your mind, is something that keeps coming up that maybe most digital PR specialists are not thinking about, or um, currently doing?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that kind of resurfaced for me was um, because I just recently read, like Muckrack does their State of Journalism report every year, where they interview journalists and ask them questions. And the thing that um, people have said to me in the past, and like, yeah, again, it like resparked this new mission I'm on to remind people about it. But like the idea of audience and
Mm,
thinking about the audience of the journalists that you're reaching out to, and
mm,
like and I touch on that. Like I've had various like touch points on that, and I think it's given me like unique feelings for it, and they keep coming back. Like I went to Google Search Central in New York and like met some guy who works in a newsroom, and he was like, I'm not ready to come on the podcast, but like I like to, whatever questions. I was like, dude, like what is it like to like run, like this balance of
yeah.
like, you have traffic, and he was telling me about how Google, Google Discover, they, tanking our traffic and all these out. And I'm like, man, they have their own whole set of things that they're working against, but one of the things that stood out to me was like, yeah, sometimes when traffic gets rough, we try to expand the news as much as we can. We want to push it into interesting things. But like when traffic gets tough, we have to kind of lean back on what gets clicks. And it's like, what do you say? Like car crashes and
Yeah.
shootings or something. You know, it's like the depressing stuff that makes you not want to watch local news. It's like, that's the stuff. The reason you see it all the time is because that's what people watch. That's what people like. So again, it brings back that idea of like the emotion thing, but I think it does kind of just help you reframe the idea that, you know, you're pushing your news out there. You have however many clients, you have however many news stories, and you're trying to get them in placed on all these places. But if you're looking at it from the journalist perspective, it's like they have their whole slot of news
Yeah.
stories, you know, that so and so snowstorm's coming up, this car crash happened, this local race is happening. And like you're trying to pitch them, oh, your city is the best city for runners or something. And you're like, you know, when you think of it from that context, you kind of, you feel for the journalist who's getting inundated with all these pitches, and
Really
it
bad pitches. Yeah.
hopefully will make you be a little bit more selective with how you do things and how you present your information to them. So and just kind of remind you that, like, again, there's another person on the other side of the email, a real person, and they're trying to get their job done just like you are. So I think if everybody has that mindset, it makes a lot of the stuff a lot easier.
That's interesting. Have you read the book Trust Me, I'm Lying by Ryan Holiday?
Yeah, that was like the
That's like
first
the
book I
opposite
read.
side, like over
Yeah, yeah.
exaggerating all this news cycle. Yeah. So it goes on the other
Yeah.
side as well. Like don't hurt the journalist either. They're afraid like that you know, give them really good stuff that's timely and accurate and all of that. Hey, we're up against the clock. Vince, thank you so much. Do you mind telling us about BuzzStream and how people can get a hold of you?
Yeah, for sure. So BuzzStream is end-to-end email outreach platform for people trying to do link building, digital PR. It's not a media database, but it'll help you find, prospect the right people to reach out to. We also have our newer tool called ListIQ, and this is kind of a standalone media list building tool where it'll basically pull all the information from a Google News SERP for you. So what used to take, 10 minutes to do per journalist, trying to find their email address and their job titles and their bios and understanding their beats and all this stuff we're talking about. Now you can do it kind of at scale, and it takes a few seconds to pull in, hundreds of journalists and then build a media outlet, media list that way. So, those are kind of the two big tools we have. In terms of connecting with me, I'm on LinkedIn. That's probably where I'm most active. Like I said, if you want to connect with me, DM me for sure, or connect, but make sure you put a little note in there. Otherwise,
Well, that's me. I tried to connect with you. You won't accept it because I'm lazy.
You didn't do the note, man. I know. So
I'm going to use
Sorry
the
about that,
podcast
Nick.
just for I wanted to spend the whole hour just so you would accept my connection. That's what I want to make sure.
Yeah,
That
I'm
was the
very
whole reason we
discerning
had
now.
you on.
Well, because I usually get the bait and switch where it's like, hey, I'm connecting this person, and they're immediately like, hey, you want to do a link exchange? And it's like, all right, this is not what
I'm sorry. That was not a link exchange. I'm not looking for anything.
I'm sorry you got stuck in. This is why we can't have nice things, Nick.
I'm sorry.
People are ruining it for the good guys like you.
Yeah. No, I can't tell you how many of those I get, or outbound cold callers. I appreciate you all, but I don't have time for a quick question. No, I don't have
That's
time.
right. A quick meeting that you've set up. Yeah. Also, hey, Vince at BuzzStream.
BuzzStream, okay.
Is, just check. It's just very simple. But
all those will be in the show notes. I want to give a shout out to IQ. That is something we've been playing with. Really powerful tool. So thank you for plugging that as well. So good. Vince, again, you're awesome. Great time. I hope we can do it again. A new friend, but I hope now like a lifelong friend.
Yeah, I love it, you guys. Thank you so much. This was awesome. As you can tell, I could talk about this stuff for hours. So, yeah, great to meet you, Evan, and great to meet you, Nick. I can't wait to connect with you guys for real on LinkedIn.
So, yeah. And you're in New York, right? So I'll have to hit you up when I'm up there.
Yeah, love it.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Vince. I appreciate it.
Cheers, guys.